I'm back, baby. What's the story, YouTube? This is Heritage. This is my first since March. The cinema's back open again, and the first film that's lined up for us is Tenet. Yeah, we're getting Christopher Nolan's film about a week ahead of you guys in the States. I think it's out there September the 3rd. And it seems to be a bit of a weird quid pro quo going on because you guys have got New Mutants and we're not getting that till Saturday. But it's out here now. I'm back in the flicks, and here's my review of the film. As per usual, I'll start off with a non-spoiler section for people who won't actually go see it and not know what's going on, and I'll give you my basic feelings about it. And then when you see the picture change in the video, if you're watching this, you'll know that I'll be going into the spoiler section and to avoid that from then on. Oh, by the way, if you usually I leave this till the end, but if you want to like and subscribe, share this, whichever you want to, usually I leave this at the end, like I said, and I don't know if anybody waits that long, so I just wanted to get it early for once. Okay, like I said, non-spoiler section here. I'm just back about an hour from now, and what I thought was, it's okay. Sadly, that's about it. I give it about a 6.5, maybe a 7 at a stretch. It's too long. It's a really long film, and it's got all the usual flair that Christopher Nolan brings. It looks gorgeous. It's well cast. It's well written. Like the score's really good, but it's about an hour too long. And the central conceit, the idea of the inverted matter that the entropy runs backwards so they can actually manipulate time and the like, it doesn't really have enough strength with it to span it out for as long as it did. So it's sad to say, I'm not a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I liked the Dark Knight trilogy. I liked Inception, The Prestige, they're all cracking little films, and I was kind of hoping to get something along those lines, and it is enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but it's not something I'd go to see again, and I'm probably not going to get this one on DVD. For me, the sign of a good film is that you tend to remember the big characters or even the main cast and the like, and everybody in this was just forgettable. I think the only one I remember is Kat, who is the wife of Kenneth Branagh's character. They are named, don't get me wrong, they are named, but they're just not named often enough that the names of the cast sticks in your head. Straight off the bat, when this thing opens, the main protagonist is actually just referred to by, the title of The American, at the opening sequence. And he's not an actor I know, so I don't actually know his name. So all I really know is just like Kenneth Branagh, Robert Pattinson, Michael Caine. And the only reason I know Elizabeth Becky, I think that's how you pronounce her name, is because if she looks familiar to you, she was the golden chick in Guardians of Galaxy 2. She played Aisha. So to break down the good, it's well written. It's a good script. It's shot well. Christopher Nolan is an accomplished director. You're not going to be looking at something that looks terrible here. But like I said, the drawback is that it's just too long. There was also a problem with the score. There was this particular road sequence, and I don't know what they were doing. Maybe it's just the cinema it was in, I don't know. But there was a low droning beat that was going through that kind of resonated in my chest, and I was nearly getting sick. A friend of mine said he went to see Dunkirk and he had the same effect when they had the helicopters were coming in or something like that. He said it just really took him out of the film. And somebody was saying that maybe it's Nolan's attempt to unsettle the audience, because in fairness, there's a lot of, fairly dramatic stuff going on in that sequence. But if that was the intention, it had the exact opposite for me. It just took me out of the film and made me want to leave it. But it doesn't go on too long, so it's only the one drawback, I would say, in relation to the score. I think the problem as well is that the film itself is probably more suited to be a mini-series or, like a television show or something. It feels more like something you'd see in The Twilight Zone or see something that you'd see on HBO. It doesn't really have the meat in it to be, a 3-hour film. And like I said, I'm sad to say that because, it's been March since I was in the cinema. The first time in there, I was really looking forward to Tenet because I was expecting this to be a big tentpole film, and it just seems a bit of a dud. So there you go. That's the non-spoiler section there, just to get over it there. It's sadly not that great, in my opinion. Anyway, maybe if you're a hardcore Christopher Nolan fan, it might be right up your street. Maybe you'll enjoy it more. But it just seemed to have a more of a talented Mr. Ripley vibe more than anything else than opposed to like Inception. So there you go. From now on, it's going to be spoilers, and spoiler section from now on. The film opened dramatically enough. It's straight off the bat, you're into an action sequence where it's a terrorist attack on an opera theatre. I think in Russia, that's what it looks like. It's not explicitly stated, but if it's not that, it's at least Belarus or somewhere like that. And like I said, the first introduction of our main protagonist has been described as he's the American who's told to wake up in order to get out and get involved in this thing. It's a good action sequence. It's shot very well, and it culminates with our main protagonist taking his first experience with inverted matter, which is what they're calling the time travel effect that goes on through the entire film. This leads to him trying to involve the mystery about where all this stuff comes from, and gives us the background to what this stuff is about. Apparently it's something to do with fusion reactions or something, some sort of radiation, some contaminated matter, and this is the first stuff to actually be inverted. It ties into stuff, as I said, it was quite nice, was it's called, I think it's science cities that they used to have in the 1980s in Russia, where it's just like secret cities, hundreds of thousands of people all dedicated to working on military projects and the like. That type of stuff that Warren Ellis used to write about back in the 90s, you know, like, so I really appreciate that, because it lent a nice kind of James Bond espionage type vibe to the whole affair, to have, you know, like something that would sound like it's like straight out of Dr. No or something. So I was really enjoying it when they're actually doing the kind of world building behind the entire film. And all this eventually leads to him being recruited by Robert Pattinson's character, you know, like, and getting him into the organisation proper, you know, like, where they're kind of a last line of defence against what looks like to be some sort of upcoming Third World War that we don't really know a lot about, but I mean, it's implied to be happening due to all the inverted matter that's turning up in terms of guns, in terms of machinery, weapons and stuff like that. And it's just a matter that it all had its natural time to come back together and actually be effective. And this leads them on the case to this leads them onto the case of Kenneth Branagh's character. Kenneth Branagh is loving this role. He's actually playing a complete monster in it. And he's clearly relishing the fact that he gets to play this complete thug who, I mean, like I said, in relation to Lisbicky's character, Kat, there's a scene where she's kind of standing up to him, and he's basically taking his time putting these studs into a belt that he's wrapping around his fist, that he's basically going to either trash her or he's going to beat the bejesus out of her. And the whole scene is just done brilliantly, because the sense of, you know, rage and evil off your man, because you really do end up thinking, right, he's the bad guy, you hate him, that's his job done. And she's suitably terrified and conveys that she's actually, you know, traumatized by this guy, who she's stuck with because she basically relies on him to have access to her kid. She works in the artistic community, and she basically got him to buy this painting or drawing or something that for like 9 million quid, and it turns out to be a fake. And he's basically holding this over her head so that she can't leave him, because he'll destroy her reputation and she won't be able to work in the industry again. And our main protagonist, Robert Pattinson, are trying to get in with her so that they can get introduced to him to try and find out where all this inverted matter weaponry is coming from. We start getting some nice voice sequences around this period. As I said, they have this device that you go in. It's like a big revolving door. You go in one side, you come out the other. And if you come out the other, you're inverted, so time is running backwards. And this is kind of the setup to how the rest of the story kind of unfolds. Anybody who's been into science fiction, anybody who's even seen Red Dwarf's episode backwards knows that sooner or later, if you're seeing somebody fighting somebody in a mask, odds are it's them fighting themselves. And that, sure enough, that's what happened in this film. I will say, though, that some of the sequences don't work. Like, there's a scene where they basically hijack a jumbo jet and they go to drive it into this section where all the stuff is stored. And it just didn't seem to have that much energy. I don't know why, but it just seemed to be trundling too slowly, or it didn't seem as dramatic as it should be when, you know, considering you're talking about something the size of a 747 going into a hangar building. But to be honest, that was really more of a distraction in order for them to get into the central core of this storage facility, so they could actually see what strange matter device was there. The main gist at this stage is that there's 9 devices apparently, and if they're all assembled, it will actually unleash some form of entropy wave or something, which will basically reverse entropy in the entire world and basically result in the whole world, you know, coming to an end, basically by going backwards through time. This is what Kenneth Branagh's character wants to do, because apparently he's dying of pancreatic cancer, and the way he looks at it is if he's going to go, he's taking the entire world with him. So he's basically just an egomaniac. And the basic guts of the story from then on is trying to stop him killing himself before the device is detonated in a mine with, I think, with a nuclear bomb that's in there or something like that, some sort of device anyway, that's supposed to, across 2 timelines, which apparently sets the whole thing in motion. I will say that they do introduce some nice ideas at this stage. Like, for instance, there's a stage where our main character ends up in a car explosion, but because he's inverted at the time, he ends up nearly dying of hypothermia, because it's the opposite reaction that he's experiencing. And there's the notion that if you're inverted as a person, you need to bring your own air supply with you, because if you're actually breathing the air in the inverted world that you're in, it'll actually take the oxygen out of your blood and you'll suffocate. You know, like, so there's neat little ideas like that. And I have to admit, the final act is all predicated around this big assault on that mine. And they have what's called a temporal pincher move, which is really cool. It's basically, there's one group of people who are working in normal time and there's another group of people who are working in inverted time. And what that basically means is that the other guys have already completed their mission before the other lads have even started. So you've got the intel from that group that you can give to the latter. And I thought that was really cute. And this is the part where we see the attack on what was the old Science City, where Kenneth Branagh's character was from. And it's, you know, it's the one that has all the reverse explosions and the buildings, you know, rebuilding themselves and then being destroyed. And it is pretty good to look at. I have to admit, that bit is really enjoyable. It's just the downside that it takes so long to get here. And like I said, I mean, there's not really an awful lot of it that's merited. You could cut out a good bit of the stuff, which is basically just, you know, fapping around on, you know, harbours down in Iberia or in Greece somewhere, swanning around on yachts. Like, Robert Pattinson is pretty much the main protagonist partner all the way through this part. Like I said, we start seeing scenes that we've already experienced earlier on in the film being replayed backwards through time, you know, like as they come into the inverted side of things. And he's all right in the role. You know, like he comes across as a bit of a Jude Law. You know, like, I don't know whether he's trying to do that or whether it's just something, you know, he was channeling, or maybe that's just how he's acting. But either way, he's good in this. You know, like, there's a nice, you know, poignant part at the end where you basically realise that there's a whole sequence where there's a dead soldier in front of the main protagonist in the mine, you know, that he can just get to. And it turns out that that's basically Robert Pattinson's character. You know, like at the end of the film when he goes to get on that helicopter to go off, you know, and complete the mission with the inverted team, he is going to die. And of course, this is when it's revealed that you know, it's the main protagonist character that actually recruited him in the first place. So it's kind of like a circle fully coming complete. So like I said, it just falls into the category of being all right. You know, like, it's I can't really advise you to go see it. If you got a matinee, you can go cheap. I'd do that. You know, like, either that wait till it comes out and stream and you'll probably, you know, enjoy it better then. I was just so disappointed for a film that I had just high hopes for. You know, like I said, 6.5, 7 at the most. You know, like, sadly the critics, I haven't read what the critics have said, but some of the headlines I've seen about them saying it was turgid and a dud do seem to bear more, you know, reality than I was hoping. There's some nice set pieces. Like I said, it's well acted, it's well written and all, but I can't really save it from just how long it is. You know, like, 'cause I mean, you will find yourself wanting to go home. You know, like, so there you go, guys. That's my review of Tenet. Bit of a letdown. If you liked it, let me know what you think about it. You know, like, and just leave a comment in the section. So take care, guys. Bye bye.